This episode is a special one because just this week I've celebrated 18 years in business. Now, you don't get to be in my case, small business for 18 years without having made some big mistakes. And in this episode 195 of the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast, I'm going to share with you my top 5 biggest mistakes.
Hi folks, welcome to the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast by Gary Ryan from Organisations That Matter. In this podcast, Gary shares everything about servant leadership, service leadership, authentic leadership, how to create high performance cultures, service excellence and life balance. Here's your host, Gary Ryan.
Welcome folks to episode 195 of the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast. And this is the first time ever we are coming to you live for a Moving Beyond Being Good podcast episode. And this episode is a special one because just this week I've celebrated 18 years in business. Now, you don't get to be in my case, small business for 18 years without having made some big mistakes. And in this episode 195 of the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast, I'm going to share with you my top 5 biggest mistakes. Now, folks, I've been in business for a long time, as you can see, and I've had the great pleasure to work with organisations like Monash University, Nutrien Ag Solutions Australia, Lavazza Australia, the National Australia Bank, the City of Whitehorse, the City of Perth, Metro Trains Melbourne, Viva Energy, Eric Jones Stair Building Group, Mabcorp, the Shore Fact Group, the University of Melbourne, RANZCOG, which is the Royal Australian and New Zealand College of Obstetricians. That's a mouthful, that one, but that's why they go by RANZCOG. V-Line, Programmed, what a huge successful organisation. Homewood Consulting, Mannix College, RMIT University, and many, many more. And as I said, throughout that journey of 18 years of being in business with organisations that matter, I've made some big mistakes. So here are my top 5 mistakes. And number 5 on the list is going to sound a little bit strange, but it was relying too much on doing a great job for my clients to grow the business. Now, I've always believed in doing a great job for my clients, an excellent job, a remarkable job, trying to exceed their expectations as much as possible. And I've always believed that from day one, and I continue to practice that today. However, as a business growth strategy, while I have had repeat business, some of the clients I mentioned before have actually been with me all 18 years. That's a remarkable effort. And many have been over 10 years, and a large number have been for over 5 years as clients. So I get a lot of repeat business, clearly because I do deliver and over-deliver on what I promise. Now, that's really important to do, as I said. But as a strategy to grow the business, it's actually been a mistake to just rely on that, which really leads into mistake number 4. So the top 5, number 4 mistake is I took too long, folks, to recognize that I needed to consciously and deliberately develop my marketing and my sales skills. You see, I actually thought that I was already a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 for marketing and sales. And then I realized I was really only a 2 or a 3 at best. Now, that's a massive gap, right? To think that I'm this good and I was actually only that good. So by not developing those marketing and sales skills, I literally left millions of dollars on the table over those 18 years. Now, I take full responsibility for that. But folks, I want to encourage you with these 5 mistakes that you do not make these same mistakes. You want to avoid these mistakes. Get in as soon as you can as a business owner. Overcome this idea that you're not a marketer and you're not a salesperson. Because if you've got that view of the world, if you've got that mindset, you will not be successful in business. You absolutely have to develop your marketing skills, and you also need to be able to develop your selling skills. You need to be able to, in inverted commas, close deals, close sales. And that is, folks, when people agree to exchange value for your services, which is generally they pay you to deliver your services to them, okay? Now, My third biggest mistake that I made was that I remained a solopreneur for far too long. Now, a solopreneur, if you're not sure what that means, is that you are in business, but you are the business and you don't have anyone else working with you in the business. It's just you. You do everything. You do the marketing. You do the selling. You do the preparing. You do delivering. You do your accounts. You do your IT. You do all of that work, and you've got so many different hats on, it becomes a limit to growing your business. There is only so much you can earn, and ultimately only so many people you can serve when you remain a solopreneur. It was clearly one of the biggest mistakes that I'd made in my business. And it was partly because of the great financial crisis coming into existence within 18 months of me starting my business. I've got to be honest, it scared me when that came along. And I thought, I don't want to be in a situation where I've got all these extra mouths to feed. I'll just stay a solopreneur. Now, I've done a great job as a solopreneur. We've written lots of bestsellers, etc. We've served many, many thousands of people. But it has limited for a long time, far too long, the size of the business and ultimately the people that I'm serving, which is actually why that I'm in business. I want to help people. I want to make a positive difference through the leadership and business growth education that I do through the executive coaching, the leadership programs, the high performance culture programs, etc. That leads us to mistake number 2. Don't get comfortable. Okay? Comfort is the enemy of success, folks. If you get comfortable in your business, you will stop being successful. Now, in the most successful period that I had, as it turns out, leading into the pandemic, so years 16, 17, 18, and 19, I got comfortable. I was still working hard, but I actually wasn't working as hard as I had been to get to that level of success. And when the pandemic came along, I didn't ask for it, you didn't ask for it, no one asked for it. 90% of my business stopped in the first 5 business days of the pandemic. And I'm like, oh my God, how did that happen? I'm not prepared for this. And it exposed the gap that I had in my business. Okay, now maybe a pandemic like that won't happen for another 100 years or so, who knows? But it did highlight the fact that I did have a gap and I'd previously allowed myself to get comfortable. And I wasn't growing and developing and looking at new programs anywhere near to the degree that I had before I got comfortable. So folks, never, ever, ever allow yourself to get comfortable. And I can promise you, I'm never going to let myself get comfortable again for the period of time that I remain in business. That takes us to the number 1 mistake that I made in my business over these 18 years. And I'm so grateful to be able to have been in existence for 18 years. It's been such a pleasure and honor to be able to serve so many people, in addition to the companies I mentioned right at the start. But my number 1 mistake was that my goals for the business for far too long were too small. It's really only been in the last few years that I've realized that we actually have to set goals that are so big for our business in terms of the people we're serving, in terms of the revenue that we're trying to generate, that you need goals that big that they scare you, they frighten you, but they lead you to take action. They lead you to move beyond being a solopreneur. They lead you to go and learn sales and marketing skills. They lead you to continue to develop and create new programs and products. And they lead you to making sure that you're continually growing your customer base and having more and more clients and people that you can serve. So there you go, folks. There are my top 5 mistakes that I've made as a business owner, celebrating 18 years of business. In the next episode, episode 196 of the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast, I'm going to share with you the top 5 successes that I've had over the 18 years of being in business. So look forward to that episode. Please make sure that you like this episode and of course, subscribe to the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast series so that you don't miss any episodes. And we've got some great guests coming up throughout 2025, folks. So once again, I'm Gary Ryan, the founder of Organizations That Matter, sharing with you today episode 195 of the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast and the top 5 mistakes I've made from being in business for 18 years. Let's go.